Alright lads, so today alongside the new character announcements, we also did get the reveal of our next set of resurrectable characters. In this case, Machine Society, Yoruichi, NEMU, and also Mashiro. This was a pretty cool banner. I remember, NEMU being a pretty big deal. She's one of the best characters on release. And unfortunately, to this day, right? Is this the last NEMU we've gotten? Is that not crazy that she's now resurrected and we've not gotten a single NEMU since? Never mind, I forgot, there's now the Christmas version. But even so, that was a recent character. It has been a very long time, but luckily for us NEMU fans, you are going to get a new character, hopefully sometime soon, whenever they do the core free version. With her fight with Pineda, right? That's going to be hopefully a fun time, and hopefully a good character. But these characters are set to get resurrected tomorrow, and it's one of those few cases where we didn't get the characters data mined, because they only got announced today, and they only got put in the files today too. But like we did mention it 2 weeks ago, it does seem like we are going to continue the pattern of getting one resurrection batch a month in the middle of the month. However, if that first resurrection batch is a 1000-year blood war or can't for your own world, and eventually in the future, spirits are with you, that does mean we get a second resurrection batch at the end of the month. So that's what we are getting here. So whether we continue to get 2 batches next month really comes down to if our next resurrection batch is can't for your own world, which would be Shinji, Grimmjow, and also Loopy, which might be a pretty exciting resurrection batch. First up though, let's have a look at Yoruichi. The most I'm expecting here, in all honesty, is just good soul traits. These aren't Blood War characters, they aren't can't for your own world. They already have quite a few sets of skills here too, so we might just see the characters pick up one new skill, maybe an upgrade in damage output, and that's really about it. Because what we are seeing here with Yoruichi, right, is that she already has Guard Break, she already has Havoc. So a lot of the other characters released around this time, especially mid-month, right, they see bigger upgrades because they are lacking Guard Break. They are lacking Havoc. They're lacking a lot of skills. That's why our most recent mid-month resurrection batch, Kanfiord, Neliel, Kisuke, and Halibel, they all saw, especially Neliel, really good upgrades, right? Because they were lacking a lot of skills. In the case for Yoruichi, at least for a time, she's quite stacked. I mean, obviously these skills don't compare to units nowadays, but I don't think we're going to see a massive jump in how she does perform post-resurrection. So again, realistically, all I really want to see here is a good second soul trait. But even if we don't, I'm kind of okay with it because they have plenty of good soul traits. In this case, we're probably, unfortunately, going to see damage to burn. Maybe an increase in her Berserker. Maybe one skill here will get moved to an innate skill and then give her the booster skill, which might make her a bit useful, but the merely Hollow Guild quest probably doesn't need her because that's where boost attacks are more so being used in. I would love to be surprised here, but let's see what Yoruichi is starting off with. So first and foremost, her soul trait is going to be recharge and also damage to burning enemies. However, her innate skills, hold on, I didn't even notice that she has innate skills, right? So she does have 2 innate skills. So she picked up 1 new innate skill. So less skills this character can pick up. It's not looking good for these characters. But it seems like she was given Sprinter +1, but she already had Sprinter +1 in the base character skill set. So they moved that skill up to likely give her another skill, which in this case is 30% more strong attack damage when at full stamina. Her Berserker also went up quite a bit, to be fair. Now, 70% Berserker isn't crazy, but considering that she started off with 20% Berserker, that is higher than usual. So it really does seem like KLab knew they couldn't give her, with the way they resurrect characters, they couldn't give her much. So they at the very least are giving her now 100% Berserker and also Frenzy +1. I mean, that means she's going to hit harder. And you know what? Nowadays, to be fair, I'm not even against this type of upgrade because resurrections are actually useful for like those early stages in Senkamon. I've seen people already, clear Senkamon towers using resurrectable characters. So if you do want to partake in something like that, have a bit of fun in Senkamon, you might be able to get a use out of this character in like stage 1, mission set 1, 2, or 3. And therefore save your better characters for those later stages. So even though this damage increase isn't going to make her like meta anywhere really, you potentially can get a use out of this upgrade in my opinion. But as for the soul trait, it was expected, damage to burning and also recharge, not that useful in all honesty. A character like Basby, I guess, could use it, but again, in cases like this, when it comes to damage to a status element and also recharge, you're just 9 times out of 10 better using full stamina damage and recharge, strong attack damage and recharge. The only time links like this are actually useful, in all honesty, are more so for those newer characters, as they get 30%. So she's just one of those links that it's just there. They don't want to give like a super really good link. It's kind of a filler link at this point, similar to how characters in the past used to get resistances. Next up, we have NEMU. So again, one of the best characters on release, in all honesty. She had a charge strong attack 3, she had the increased status augment chance, she had a 40% berserker, which might not seem too crazy, but back then, you know, early 2021, maybe, 40% berserker with status augments and an increased chance with a charge strong attack was actually really, really good. So again, similar situation to Yoruichi, already has a stacked set of skills for her time. So likely we're going to see just more berserker. That's really all they can do. When it comes to her soul tree, she is going to pick up 2 new innate skills. So maybe she will pick up guard break. I think guard break is a given here. And again, maybe more full stamina damage. Berserker, for example. And shout out to Pigs for Life. I forgot to turn off my alerts, but shout out to you. And for the soul trait, I highly doubt we're going to get a strong attack damage increase. We're likely going to see damage to paralyzed enemies, which is a link someone like Bambietta can use, the swimsuit version, who you might get in this upcoming end of month banner. But again, once more, you might be better off just using strong attack damage. So going into the innate skills, she got guard break and also sprinter +1. Similar to Yoruichi, sprinter +1 got moved from her attainable skills to now her innate skill. So that means she is going to pick up a new skill that we can see when we scroll down. And what is that skill going to be? Damage to paralyzed enemies +20% with a 40% strong attack damage increase. And then, of course, as expected, the soul trait is damage to paralyzed enemies. So in terms of a damage increase here, she basically saw 80% strong attack damage increase, assuming you are inflicting paralysis, which, to be fair, if you're up against speed hollows, you are going to do that. So similar to Yoruichi, I think a character like this has a use in maybe Senkamon. If you are up against hollows, I know her increased status augment chance is only against speed attribute hollows, but I think this damage increase is decent enough, especially with the idea that you can take it into these special move trials, get 2 extra dupes of her. Maybe if you have her duped out already, you can max transcend her and make it a pretty decent character for Senkamon, if you are lacking options. Then again, she is a Soripa, so like, everyone should have access to really good Soripas. There's a plentiful amount of Soripas in this game, so you might not even need to use resurrectable characters, but, you know, maybe it's just worth mentioning. If anything, to be honest, Mashiro might be one of the more noteworthy characters here, because she is a Hollow character. We've yet to get the Hollow Senkamon quest, but honestly, for an affiliation that doesn't get that many characters, any little helps, and any damage increase here is going to be really good, again, for some of those earlier Senkamon stages. So in her case, what we are looking at here is strong attack damage and also recharge -12%. So maybe they could remove the recharge and give recharge as a soul trait. That's what they did to Grimmjow, the fierce battle version. And in a way, you can look at it as a nerf because you're losing that, you know, 2% recharge, because she can only get 10% from a soul trait, but it will make her a better soul trait. And that lack of 2% recharge that she might potentially lose if they go down that route isn't going to be that big of a deal. But personally speaking, I'm hoping they don't do damage to weaken this. I believe is weakening. It might be poison. Pretty sure it's weakening. I would love for them to just go full stamina damage and also strong attack damage. It's a link that we haven't gotten much of in the past, at least as of late, and it's a pretty good soul trait. I think it's starting to make a comeback, maybe even in Senkamon and Guild Quests. And this character, when it comes to the skills, we have Bruiser, Debilitator, Frenzy, Guard Break, Havoc, Sprinter +1. What I'm really hoping for with this character, similar to what they did with the others, is that they move the Sprinter +1 into her innate skills, and maybe that opens the door to get more Berserker, strong attack damage. Unlike the 2 other characters, however, this Mashiro doesn't have any innate skills, so we are getting 3 new skills in total with this character, and most of them I think should be focused on damage on her strong attacks, maybe damage to weakened enemies. So let's find out. So innate skills, unfortunately only 2 here, Guard Break and also Sprinter +1, so Guard Break is nice, Sprinter +1 did get moved up. And then having a look at here, what are we working with? 50% Berserker. Again, that's good. I think any damage increase for a character like this is going to be good to see, because that means that she is going to be better in Senkamon, and more than ever compared to the other 2 characters in the banner, her affiliation is super limited. She can definitely be used, especially now with that damage increase. So, interestingly, she got a 24% mind droplet increase. Okay, that's not too bad. That actually makes her a decent droplet farmer. Not like you even need those, to be fair, but I mean, it's there. It's there. It's the first time we are seeing this. And I guess if you are farming droplets, you know, normally you're using the 30% droplet soul traits. Maybe it's better to bring strong attack damage and also 24%. The thing is, though, if you are farming droplets, it's relatively easy anyway. you know, links or trials, for example, where you probably would value the more droplet percentage than more damage because you're likely going to clear super fast anyway. So I'm not sure how I feel about the soul trait. I kind of like it because it's the first time they've done it, but at the same time, strong attack damage and full stamina would have also been nice. But at the same time, once more, I already have plenty of those soul traits. I think if anything though, the best part about her is that she is resurrectable now, so you could potentially get 2 more duplicates into her through the special move trial quest and take her into the upcoming Hollow Senkomon quest if you do have her. You know, going forward with Senkomon, I think we should be looking at affiliations with more importance now, more so the rarer ones. So it kind of feels appropriate right now for Mashiro to be resurrecting, in all honesty. But overall, it's an okay resurrection batch, like nothing super crazy. I don't think anyone was expecting anything crazy from these characters, but for the most part, they all got a damage increase, so they're better. Soul traits definitely could have been better, however. For most players out there, let's be honest, we're just still going to continue using those newer and better, more fun characters. So the big important is, 1, if you have them, you're getting more orbs, and 2, what soul trait they do offer, and soul traits really aren't good in this particular batch. That's kind of okay though, because again, this is like an extra resurrection batch. The main links are going to be seen in the middle of the month when we do get Khan for Your Own Resurrection. Like I said already, Khan for Your Own World round 6, I believe. So Shinji, Grimmjow, and also Loopy might be next up for the upcoming mid-month of May. No guarantee they actually do them, but if they are to do another Cornfield Resurrection batch, it will be them. And I'm looking forward to the upgrades because I think Shinji's actually a pretty fun character. Once more, another holo that you could potentially use in guild quests. So him getting a good upgrade actually is going to be beneficial for us that do have him. Either way, hope you liked and enjoyed the video. See you guys next time. Take care and peace.